Welcome back to the Storyrant Podcast. I'm your resident cosmic horror, dark fantasy, and cyberpunk madman, Eric Malachite. And today, I'm joined by author C.T. Phipps as we attempt to discuss Amazon and their draconian review policies. Charles, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself before we get into the meat of this podcast episode?
Hey, my name is C.T. Phipps. I am an author of the Supervillainy saga, Cthulhu Armageddon, Agent G, I Was a Teenage Weredeer, Straight Outta Fankton, and several other books. I have been a longtime reviewer at Grimdark Magazine, Indie Epic Reviews, and Before We Go blog. I've been a reviewer at my own blog and some other places too, but mostly I just love promoting my fellow indie authors and trying to make sure we're all in this together.
Yeah, as you have told me many times before, the rising tide lifts all boats.
Not all authors believe that, and some actually believe, if this one other indie author is writing in urban fantasy, surely no one else will buy my books if they buy his, which is, of course, a ridiculous idea. Books are read by fans, and fans like reading things in the same genre. If someone else succeeds in your genre, you're more likely to succeed in yours. But hey, what do I know? I've only been somewhat successful.
I'm sure you're being pretty modest there, too. As I mentioned in the preamble for this podcast, Amazon's policies are super draconian when it comes to reviews. And especially when it comes to your fans reviewing your work or reviewing work with other authors who you've networked with. Because as we all know, the indie author circle is quite small. You're going to end up knowing a lot of people and sharing each other's work and what have you. It's something that the traditional book industry does all the time. Everybody kind of knows everyone. And reviews from other authors are pretty common, even ones that you have an acquaintanceship with,
Oh, yes. Well, it's inconsistent as well as draconian. Amazon, as you said, allows plenty of authors to review other authors. You can put it on the top of your review list, cite it inside your book, and all these other recommendations. But if they show up in your actual reviews in the Amazon, they'll strike it down, potentially ban people, and many other ridiculous overreactions. And it's applied sometimes, and then sometimes it's not. And then sometimes they completely ignore it for 10,000 randomly generated reviews from someone who says, best review ever, John 16.
If you have that, if you have the image screenshotted, please send it to me so I can put it up on screen whenever I get around to editing this. So recently you had something happen to you regarding this draconian review policy. Can you go ahead and tell the listeners and viewers on Storyrant what happened?
Well, I've been a reviewer of indie fantasy and sci-fi books for about 10 years now. As mentioned, I belong to a bunch of review sites, and I've been making it a large part of my brand. I write books, and then I review books of other indie authors to try and promote them to make sure I share some of the attention that I've managed to get. And unfortunately, recently, I was banned off Amazon from reviewing ever again. Not Goodreads, not Audible. Please don't ban me on those, Amazon. But just Amazon reviews, because they said I had violated the content policy by reviewing other authors I have an association with, which is against the rules. And here's the thing. I have an association with a lot of authors because I'm part of the author community. And that's what we're getting at here, that trying to promote people to buy other books for each other is apparently against the policy, which is counterintuitive for a company that's trying to sell books. Amazon supported the indie community when they were trying to get leverage over the other big companies, and immediately after they got that leverage, they pulled the rug out from under us.
I mean, as you do if you're an evil mega corporation.
Yes, absolutely. I mentioned earlier this day to you directly that Bezos literally dresses and looks like Lex Luthor because he wants to, and he's doing it deliberately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But so while Amazon's review policy is draconian and they have unfairly targeted indie authors for supposedly fake reviews. I just got an email today from one of my fans, a new fan, on my mailing list. You know, a completely legitimate and accepted way to market your products. Mailing lists are basically essential to success as an author or as a business in general. Not social media, not YouTube, mailing lists, right? And he tells me that he was banned off of Amazon. And I'm going to put the message up on screen. It'll be cropped. His name is Johan, and he's a big fan of Ego Trip and Echoes of Olympus Mons. I had a big winter giveaway where I was just like, fuck it. You know, I wanted to celebrate the fact that so many people had jumped onto my mailing list. I wanted to give something back. And he was banned for reviewing an arc. We don't know each other at all. But Amazon decided to nuke his account for whatever fucking reason. It's ridiculous. This isn't okay, you know?
Well, they constantly are cutting the legs out from under indie authors, and the reasoning and rationale behind it is even more incoherent than the vast majority of corporate executive meddling that very often does not understand, if it ever does, how these sort of things work there. Again, we're indie authors trying to sell our work there and working with Amazon on this respect, but their priorities are all screwed up. They don't like mailing lists because we want you to buy books there, except they encourage giveaways through the Kindle and other methods. And sure, we don't want you selling your books to people you already know, except that's how fan bases work. You develop the best way for an indie author to sell as many books as possible is to develop a personal relationship with their fan base. Make regular messages, make newsletters, communicate with their fans on Facebook.
Right. And as someone who has worked behind the scenes on YouTube with big YouTubers, I know how that parasocial relationship works. I know how important it is. Important. Sorry, I'm having some sinus issues, folks. It's ridiculous to expect zero contact between the author and their fan base.
No.
Ridiculous. It's not going to happen. It's not going to fucking happen.
Well, that's a point there. Why are you even going after it there? Amazon is also so weird in this kind of crackdown because who is making the complaints here that this is a bad thing? Because it's certainly not the fans who are actually invested in their personal parasocial relationship with authors. And, you know, if it's some random guy who thinks, oh, these are not incredibly balanced, perfectly neutral reviews, well, whoop-de-doo. I mean, how often are they going to be typing up a complaint about this thing that, Mandy is really into Star Wars, and she happened to have met Timmy Zahn at a convention.
Right. It's really creepy, the links that they're using to track user activity. Like, looking at their social media, looking at the crawlers, basically looking at their search history and shit. I mean, we know that these giant corporations buy and sell, or their main, especially social media companies, sell user data. That's the main reason. That's how they make their money. There's a great secret.
There's a great bit of conversation where these 70 and 80-year-old senators are trying to interrogate Zuckerberg during one of those Senate hearings about something they clearly don't understand to the slightest bit there. One question that did stand out there was when a senator asked, so how much revenue do you think Facebook makes from advertising, percentage-wise? And Zuckerberg going like, I don't know there. And we, of course, the audience know. What would it be, 100% of your revenue? What else do you make your revenue from?
Selling user data.
Yeah, I was just... Which I think would probably qualify under certain levels of advertising there. But yes, going on with that, we also know that Amazon is making the big push behind AI-generated work for art and writing, and I'm like, that's going to drive indie authors out of business there with, the guy who produces 40 separate books using a computer program, and they're going to be absolute hot garbage, but Amazon doesn't ban those.
Yeah, no, I am, just in case people recently subscribed to the channel and don't know, I do not like AI. If you don't like that, go somewhere else. I don't fucking care. But yeah, recently Amazon absolutely fucking flooded the audiobook market with AI narrated and generated books. Mm-hmm. And this was a curated program too. You can't just be in this program. You have to be selected for it too. And they're providing these audiobooks free of charge to get as many people as possible listening to them. And they're absolute hot fucking garbage.
I mean, it's not even a question of what they're hoping to accomplish there. Of course, they want to, gain some kind of nebulous control over audiobook narration. I'm like, that clearly is not a market that is really going to generate that much revenue there. But for some reason, they decided to stake their claim to it. And
because they just want everything. Like, books don't even make them a whole lot of money. They could leave books alone. They could get out of the book game entirely and just leave their publishing tools available to people, and it wouldn't impact their bottom line. They're just evil. They just hate us. That's kind of the takeaway that I've received.
Couple of points here as well there. Reminder, now's a good time to get out of Kindle Unlimited there, because they have slashed the revenue and slashed the revenue and slashed the revenue, that you might as well be giving it away now. And second of all, the rules that they do enforce are just utterly ridiculous for not just any kind of indie author, but a reviewer in general there. I actually am in a book, one anthology with Kevin J. Anderson of the Jedi Academy trilogy fame, among many other, and the Doom prequels. I like one, I don't like the other. But yeah, if I reviewed a Kevin J. Anderson book, I clearly am going to be highly biased and get banned under that for this rule. And that's the most parasocial relationship I have with a lot of the reviews I do there. But that's enough to get me banned in this year. And that was one of the ones they listed as me violating their rules, because I had wrote a Kevin J. Anderson review, but I had been in an anthology associated with him.
Yeah, who cares? Like, half the time when you're included in an anthology, you don't even know the other people in the anthology.
And I'm going to point out the fact here. If you had cited that review in my quotation, in my blurb, that would have been something they completely ignore.
Wow.
Dave says, Kevin J. Anderson says, blah, 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 is a good book. Put in a review, banned.
That's ridiculous. And this policy isn't even fairly or evenly enforced. It's always positive reviews that are taken down. It's never negative ones. Fake negative reviews are a huge problem.
I mean, I appreciate, Amazon have cut down on at least some of them there. I have gotten plenty of offers, let's just say, as an indie author over the past 10 years. It's like, I want to get the right salesman voice here. Hey, you're an indie author. I have over 1,000 reviewers who will read your book, and each write a review for your book if you give me $500. And I'm like, yes, I clearly think you have a reading club of 1,000 people that will all go down and run through my book one way or the other. We all know that they're pre-generated crap, and it's something that we do I'm very glad that they have cracked down on, because there used to be all sorts of people selling tens and hundreds of reviews that they flooded with Amazon with it. That should be shut down. Yeah. But that's not the indie fan community. The fan community is something very different.
It is. So I recently saw a news report from CNBC that, and I'm going to show this on screen during the actual edit, that Amazon has a problem with AI-generated reviews on pretty much all of its products, and these are comically bad.
Oh yes,
like they're not curated at all. They will say things like, "I do not possess a body, but I love this product."
Yes, there are plenty of fantastically AI-generated reviews there, and I have developed a certain tolerance to when I go over reviews for my favorite kind of indie books. There, I whenever I come across a guy who says like has 12,000 reviews for a space book, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not believing that these are a majority of these are real people, especially when he's like best book ever. No notes. This is a very
Yeah.
exciting book. It is full of
But
character
Amazon
development.
will favor those one sentence reviews
Oh yes.
over more detailed
Oh yes.
analysis.
Yes, it will take like 5-6 days at the minimum for a one-page review where you analyze the plot and say what you think of the characters. But one sentence review saying like, book good, bye.
Right.
Fantastic
Right.
romance. Really love these characters. Classic tale of good and evil. A Game of Thrones.
So, Charles, do you think there's any way that we can fight back against Amazon, especially since it owns 50% of the print market and 80% of the ebook market? Do you think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and is it a train?
Well, I think right now the situation is getting worse rather than better. And I think with the whole AI market there, indie authors are going to have to scramble to try and preserve themselves as managing to keep themselves ahead of the game. I actually benefited from Amazon in several points because when they do, I've had a lot of my Supervillainy saga success from the fact that my books regularly show up on $5 sales during President's Day or Thanksgiving or so on there in the genre market, and it's like, oh, that's where I get thousands of sales there. And here's the thing: they don't tell me when my book goes on sale; they just put it up when they randomly select it there, and I find that kind of hilarious, incredibly disrespectful, and lack of helping me promote. But they don't want me help promoting my own book, or they don't care, so to speak. You might as well not exist when you're part of the machine that is Amazon. And for me, I think it boils down to if indie authors are going to have any success in promoting their works and reviewing each other and so on, they have to go a little analog and step out of the Amazon system to do this on their own. Forums, websites, and so on, and encouraging the community to go to them for these kind of things. If you think that you're going to be able to sell your books without Amazon and be like Brandon Sanderson did that, stunt he did, no, that's not going to work, man. You have to be on Amazon, and you have to provide direct links to your stuff on Amazon because it's impossible to find anything with their review system.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're in it's like I want to
absolutely
Wraith King. I enter the title, enter the author name. No. You might be six levels down, and Amazon will recommend something entirely differently if they're selling it.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate because like you have to be really careful with which links you share on Amazon because they will, if you provide the wrong link, it will think that your reviewer or whoever your fan is who clicked that link knows you because it's your personalized link, and it sucks. It really does. Like this is something like independent expression.
The algorithm is not alive. This is another thing we need to acknowledge because a lot of people are stupid. Because remember when they were defending the AI generated art and so on, saying it's like, what's the difference between an AI algorithm? Sorry, what's the difference between AI making art and teaching from all these various sources and a real person doing it, taking inspiration? I'm like, well, one is not alive, dipshit.
Yeah.
One does not think.
So far, large language models like ChatGPT, like any of the products offered by OpenAI and its sleazy fucking CEO, they're not sapient. They do not have actual intelligence. They're not black boxes. Don't listen to any of the snake oil salesmen or the AI bros that will inevitably end up in the chat for this one. Or the episode on AI that I plan on doing.
Yeah, it's like, listen, man, if you're dating your ChatGPT, that's fine. You do you. But there's no difference between that and a video game girlfriend. Let's just be honest here.
I'm sorry, but if you are dating your ChatGPT, please go outside and touch some fucking grass.
Listen, man, we all like BioWare, but Tali's not real.
That's true.
Yes.
So if I remember correctly, Goodreads was not always owned by Amazon, right?
Yes. Goodreads is a fascinating case there because it's largely untouched by Amazon in Wild West wise. You can go to Goodreads and read all manner of points, and the AI don't bother really generating fake reviews there. It's kind of an untouched verdant wilderness, so to speak, there, but it's also full of monsters.
Yeah. I've heard that like trolls are really active on Goodreads for leaving crap reviews and what have you, even when they
revenge reviews are hilarious, especially there, because on Amazon they do curate to a certain extent that if you'll attack someone or viciously or someone, they will take that down if you report it there. On Goodreads, everyone has hate reviews that come from seemingly nowhere, including people that have not read your book or don't care. And I get plenty of hate reviews, and I'm like, who are you? And if they're going to
right.
hate review me, they'll hate review anyone.
It's come to the point where reviews on Amazon are almost meaningless too, because like there have been other controversies, especially on Twitter, about authors going after reviewers for negative reviews.
Oh, there's a bunch of really fascinating horror stories, this kind of thing there.
Yeah.
Goodreads is a place where there are their own communities that are both good and bad because, and this is hilarious, especially in the YA community, there are some mean girls cliques kind of thing.
Yeah. I've read that. I'm so glad I don't write
link that I would love to provide there about I think it was from Variety, where they talked about this girl who did what is blatantly Harry Potter fanfic that had been serial numbers filed off, so to speak, there, except it's this original character going to the Slytherin equivalent because they're all dark wizards, and it's all about learning that racism is wrong. Apparently she got dogpiled by over 1,000 Goodreads reviewers because the girl starts as racist against magical creatures, not even racist against real ones. And it's like, you're preaching hate. They're just saying, so at least we know that, Amazon is terrible for this kind of thing there, but there are some genuinely nutty people in the review and markets too.
I hesitate to say because, I don't.
But here's the thing: there's no such thing as negative publicity either. That girl probably sold, that girl probably sold 100,000 extra copies because so many people were sending her crap reviews.
Right.
Oh, but I hate to interrupt
as far
you.
As
I'm sorry. There's just so many funny stories about this kind of thing that I know of. I especially love this one, and Goodreads is a place where there actually are the kind of thing that Amazon worry about there, because there's this one author who created 40 separate accounts to send 1-star reviews to people in her genre.
Yeah.
That I don't mind taking down, but I think that has to be an isolated incident.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But
and it's always the positive reviews they take down. That you rarely see them going after the people that are trying to review bomb whoever. I mean, that's a thing that happens with movies. It doesn't much happen with indie authors, with rare exceptions.
Like I was trying to say,
I'm sorry. Stop interviewing.
I don't know if there's a solution to this problem. Goodreads is owned by Amazon, and I fear that if another review site got really popular, really big, Amazon would just want to buy that too.
I mean,
I think the only solution would be FTC regulations, starting a lawsuit against Amazon for monopolistic practices.
I don't think that there's any chance of being able to defeat the giant in this case. Was that the only way you do is stay out of its way and make connections online between review sites, review communities, review groups. Use the systems of parasocial relationships to be able to circumvent Amazon as the chief source of your review information. Right. Get the word out via other ways there, and stay out of the Sentinel's way if you're an X-Man.
Yeah. And if you're a reader listening to this podcast, do yourself a favor, review on other websites as well. Definitely still try to post a review on Amazon, but don't make it your main review source where you're posting something. Post it on Goodreads, post it on BookBub, or really Barnes & Noble, any website where you can find your favorite author's book.
Also posted on blogs. There are plenty of places.
Yeah. If we all sort of, and I know that readers are not necessarily going to go out of their way unless they're super fans, but if we're conscious of the way that Amazon treats authors and we care about those things, we should definitely endeavor to post those reviews in other places so that other people can see them. Post them to your social media, Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads. Threads is a great place to just spew ADHD to your followers about the things that you love. So do that. If the more you talk about it, the better it is for whatever author you're talking about. Not just myself, not just Charles.
Absolutely.
Especially if said author has less than 70 reviews on Amazon. Because I'll tell you something. Once your book has 70 reviews, that makes it more likely for Amazon. And I've heard this from other authors like Totally Not Mark, for example. Or no. It's not Totally Not Mark. It's Hello Future Me. Love his channel. Love his video essays on Avatar, The Last Airbender. Once it hits 70 reviews, it starts promoting it, and I'm pretty sure that Charles can corroborate that to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm. It's an extent where reviews definitely do help there, but I will point out that they're not necessarily the instant. Oh, I have 70 reviews. They're going to start massively promoting me immediately. Yeah. The system that Amazon uses to share alike is nebulous at the best of times. The fact they don't publish this kind of information is another frustrating element because they don't want authors and independent producers to know the tricks of how it works. But yeah, and sometimes they will crack down if they do figure out that someone has cracked the code. A friend of mine who was a author of, I'm going to be honest, let's just say massively quickly produced genre fiction, was one of the earliest guys to figure out you should do double spacing and spacing between paragraphs with Kindle Unlimited, because of course that will get more people to read more pages.
Oh no.
Yes.
What happened?
Made over $100,000 a year, which because it makes his books there, and great obvious indie numbers there. Massive fan base, selling like hotcakes, but because he was doing Kindle Unlimited, Amazon banned him forever.
Oh wow!
As a publisher, yes, which I think they've done to like 2 people.
Like, has he signed with another publisher?
Weirdly enough, I think he sells his books directly to his fans via Kickstarter and gets like $100,000 devotion. Is like, okay, you live in a different universe than I do.
Yeah, that is. He's probably got it made.
Yeah.
All right. Well, bottom line is, please review as much as possible. Read as many books as you can. Review those books. Share that shit with your friends, with your family, anyone who you think will enjoy that stuff. And don't just post those reviews to Amazon because they suck. And try to get the word out about how much Amazon sucks, too. All right, Charles, go ahead and promote your stuff. Tell people where they can find you, and I look forward to having you back on the show again.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, unfortunately, the best place to find me is Amazon. But I'm also available on Smashwords, Nook, Barnes & Noble, all these places there. Just look up CT Phipps, and you'll probably find one of my books or audiobooks there. And I appreciate you getting either.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of his books. You won't be disappointed. It's great, entertaining stuff. And you can find my books there, too. So, oh no, do you know us now? Is Amazon gonna care? All right. I thank you all for watching this episode of the Storyrant Podcast. And do all that algorithmic jazz and spread this information, this episode, this channel wide and far to the YouTube masses so they know just how much Amazon sucks balls. I'm your host, Eric Malachite, and I'll see you next time, Space Cowboy.